Motivation keeps failing you, and the reason hurts to hear. Because every time you wait to feel motivated, your life stays exactly where it is. And that is the punch you need right now, because you are not stuck due to lack of talent or lack of intelligence or lack of opportunity. You are stuck because you are waiting for a feeling that was never designed to carry you forward. And deep down you already know this, because you have felt motivated before you watched the videos. You read the quotes. You felt the fire for one day, maybe 2 days, and then life happened. You got tired, you got busy, you got distracted, and suddenly that motivation disappeared, and so did your progress. And that cycle has repeated itself so many times that it now feels normal. And that is the dangerous part. Because you are not failing loudly, you are failing quietly, day by day, while telling yourself tomorrow will be different. And I know how that feels, because it feels heavy, it feels frustrating, it feels confusing, because you want more from life, but you keep losing momentum and you start to think something is wrong with you. When the truth is, nothing is wrong with you. You were just taught the wrong idea that motivation is the key, and it is not. And if you keep believing motivation will save you, then you will keep repeating the same year again and again with new excuses, but the same results. And the stakes are real, because every year you delay is a year you do not get back. Every goal you keep postponing slowly turns into regret. And one day, you wake up older, more tired, and wondering how time moved so fast while you stayed in the same place. And that is not fear. Talk. That is reality, because comfort and waiting feel harmless until they steal your future quietly. And here is the turning point. You need to hear. Motivation is not the engine, it is the spark. And sparks die fast. Engines keep running, and the people you admire, the ones who seem consistent, disciplined, and unstoppable, are not more motivated than you. They just stopped relying on motivation and built systems, habits, and discipline instead. And once you understand this, everything changes, because you stop asking, "How do I feel today?" and start asking, "What needs to be done today?" And that shift is where growth begins, because motivation depends on mood, but discipline depends on decision. And decisions are something you can control even on your worst days, and that is the promise I want you to hold on to. You do not need to feel ready. You need to start. And starting messy, tired, and unsure still moves you forward while waiting. Perfectly motivated keeps you stuck. And the reason motivation always fails you is because life does not care how inspired you feel. Bills still come. Responsibilities still show up. Obstacles still appear. And if your progress depends on feeling good, you will lose every time, because feelings change, but commitments stay. And this is where most people get uncomfortable, because discipline feels boring. Discipline feels repetitive. Discipline feels lonely. But discipline works, and results do not come from intensity. They come from consistency. And consistency is built on doing the work even when the excitement is gone. And think about this every time you quit. Because you were not motivated. You trained your brain to run away from discomfort. And every time you push through without motivation, you train your brain to trust yourself. And self-trust is what builds confidence. Not hype, not speeches, not quotes. Confidence comes from keeping promises to yourself, and motivation cannot do that for you. Only action can. And the painful truth is, motivation feels good because it lets you dream without changing anything. It gives you the emotional reward before the work, and that is why it is addictive. You feel productive without producing results. But discipline delays the reward until the work is done. And that is why it feels hard, but also why it changes lives. And if you are honest with yourself, you will realize that the biggest breakthroughs in your life did not come when you felt motivated. They came when you had no choice, when you were under pressure, when you were scared of staying the same, and that is the energy you need to learn how to create on demand, not through emotion, but through structure, through routines, through standards that do not change based on mood. And once you accept that motivation will not save you, you stop being disappointed by its absence and start building a system that works without it. You plan your days, you reduce decision fatigue, you remove distractions, you design your environment to support action, and suddenly progress feels less heavy because you are not fighting yourself every day. And this is how you win the real battle, which is not against the world, but against the version of you that waits for permission to start. And the world will never give you that permission, because the world rewards those who move first, not those who feel ready. And motivation loves to tell you you are special, and that one day when everything feels right, you will begin. But discipline tells you the truth, that you are built by what you do repeatedly, not by what you feel occasionally. And that truth can either offend you or free you. And I hope it frees you, because you have wasted enough time blaming motivation, when what you really needed was a plan and courage to follow it, even when it feels uncomfortable and boring and slow. And understand this, boredom is not a sign you are failing. Boredom is a sign you are building something real. And the more you rely on discipline, the less you need motivation. Because progress itself becomes the fuel. Results become the inspiration, and momentum replaces emotion. And that is when quitting stops being an option, because you are no longer chasing a feeling. You are protecting an identity, the identity of someone who shows up no matter what. And that identity changes everything about how you move, how you think, and how you see yourself. And once you become that person, motivation becomes a bonus, not a requirement. And the fear of starting fades because you trust yourself to finish. And this is the part most people never reach because they quit too early, waiting for motivation to come back, instead of pushing through and building the strength that lasts. And if you are listening to this right now, feeling tired of starting over, tired of being inspired but not transformed, then this message is for you. Motivation always fails, because it was never meant to lead your life. Discipline was, and the moment you stop waiting to feel motivated and start acting committed is the moment your life begins to change quietly, steadily, and permanently. And I want you to remember this every time you say, I do not feel like it, because growth does not care how you feel, it only responds to what you do, and you are capable of more than you think. Once you stop depending on feelings and start depending on standards. And this is not about becoming harsh or robotic. It is about becoming reliable to yourself, because your future depends on the actions you take when no one is watching and no one is cheering and no one is motivating you. And that is where real power is built. And if this message hit you, if it felt uncomfortable, if it felt honest, then that means you are ready for the next level. And you do not have to walk that path alone. I believe in your potential. Subscribe and stay connected, and let's continue this journey of growth together.